Hi, it's James. Well, Pantone has stirred the pot. If you don't know, the color of the year is called Cloud Dancer. And apparently it's pretty divisive because basically it's just white. And this is why they chose it. It is a whisper of tranquility and peace in a noisy world. The other thing I saw somewhere else was that they do consider it um, that it's to help build an atmosphere of serenity and spaciousness, providing a refuge of visual cleanliness that inspires well-being and lightness. Oh boy. Now, the rest of their color palette is what they call powdered pastels. These are pastels and neutrals that are compatible to Cloud Dancer, offering subtle shifts in hue that are nuanced, pleasing, and understated. And they are lemon icing, which is kind of a yellowish cream color. Nimbus Cloud, which is kind of a very light, neutral, grayish color. Raindrops on Roses, which is a very light pink. I mean, very light pink, barely pink. Of course, Cloud Dancer is white. Ice Melt, which is the color of my walls, which is kind of a bluish white. Peach Dust, which is really light blush peach. Almost Aqua, which is not almost aqua at all. It looks green to me. Kind of looks like a very soft sage. And then Orchid Tint, which has a little bit of a purplish hue to it. And then for their light and shadow hues, they're calling it Veiled Vista, which is a very much lighter green, like the inside of a very pale lime. Then there is Baltic Sea, which is a prettier, deeper blue, very pretty. Golden Mist, which is kind of a golden color. Then Quiet Violet, which is a little bit of a darker violet. Then you have Cloud Cover, which is a darker gray. And then Hematite, which is a very, I would call it a slate gray. It's not very dark. It's kind of a medium gray. And then, of course, there is Blue Fusion, which is it's darker blue, but it's like a muddy blue, is what I would call it. So those are the colors, and should be rather interesting to see what kind of clothing comes out of that. Right? I don't know. Kind of odd. The reason that they find it divisive is because they thought that they were going with skin tones. And so white, of course, because those of us that are Caucasian and they call us white, that by using that color that it was a DEI choice, I don't know. Some of the nonsense that goes around with these, choosing these colors is something else. Just interesting for just the choice that they made. You know, honestly, I mean, how uncreative could Pantone be by using white? However, they are, like I said, Someone's saying that it is leading to a creative process. It is a blank canvas for you to explore the world of color. Whatever, Pantone. So those are the colors of Pantone this year. All right, I have gotten down to where I am ready to do the ribbing on this. It's 5 rows. Then this will be complete with the exception of sewing on the buttons. And so yeah, that's where I'm at with this sweater. And then of course weaving in all the tails, that kind of stuff. That's kind of fun. That is the only thing that I've done creatively to begin with. I have been in the sewing room, but the sewing is going to be put off. I was hoping to have those bags completed yesterday. That did not happen. There were a couple of things that got in the way of that. And one of those was a birthday party for a 92-year-old friend of mine. And I really thought that we would be home, by about 2:30. It lasted quite a while. We had a good time. So I got home about 4 o'clock. So didn't get much sewing in. Got a little bit, but not enough to finish the bags. So I will be finishing those bags today and then most likely showing those tomorrow afternoon or even Wednesday. But yeah, sometimes you just have to go with the flow when it's that kind of thing. And yes, these are Christmas bags, but there's still time to get your bags. And I'm not making a whole lot, so there's only a couple that will be available. And for those folks that choose to purchase them, fine. If you don't, that's fine too. I'm not too worried about it. There are other bags that are up there. I am relisting some of bags that I had put back for later, and I'll be relisting a couple of those. And of course, there's just going to be a general sale when all these bags come up anyway. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Now, are you ready for a little what in Tarnation? Sometimes these stories just kind of come up on their own and you're like, really? Wow. All right. Baby fur seal wanders into New Zealand bar. A bar in New Zealand shared security camera footage of an unusual patron, a baby fur seal that wandered into the business. Spring and Fern the Meadows, a craft beer bar in Richmond, posted video to Facebook showing the baby seal wandering among the tables and customers inside the bar. Everyone was pretty shocked, co-owner Bella Evans told the Washington Post. A lot of us thought this was a dog at first because we are a dog-friendly environment. It was a mix of shock, excitement, and everything at once. The seal was inside the bar for about 25 minutes. The animal was eventually lured into a dog crate using salmon from the bar's pizza special. The seal was picked up by the Department of Conservation Ranger and released on Rabbit Island, a small island in the Tasman Bay area that is considered safe for seals due to the absence of dogs. Kind of makes you wonder why the seal wandered into there. If only animals could talk. Yeah. RoboCop statue installed in Detroit after nearly 15 years. An 11-foot bronze statue of science fiction hero RoboCop has been installed in Detroit after nearly 15 years of planning. The 2.5-ton sculpture, which depicts RoboCop as portrayed by actor Peter Weller in the eponymous 1987 film, was installed Wednesday outside the Free Age production studio in Detroit's Eastern Market. I love it, said Jim Toscano, owner of Free Age Production Studio. It looks great, it's super impressive, and it's already brought a lot of nice people around. The story of the statue began in 2011, when then Detroit Mayor David Bing responded to a tweet suggesting the city erect a statue of RoboCop. Bing said in a now deleted tweet that there was no plans to install such a statue. But the exchange sparked the launch of a fan-led campaign to make the artwork a reality. Brandon Wally, board president of the community arts group Imagination Station, and Jerry Paffendorf, co-founder and CEO of Loveland Technologies, launched a Kickstarter campaign that raised $67,436 toward the effort. Statue was crafted by Detroit sculptor Giorgio Gikas and completed in 2017, but placement continued to face delays from issues including legal clearance from MGM, which holds the rights to the character. Wally said now that the statue is finally in place, plans are being started for an official welcome ceremony that will hopefully include an appearance by Peter Weller. That would be interesting. British man's garden shed hits a top speed of 123 miles per hour. A British man with the love of motorized vehicles built the world's fastest garden shed, a storage structure with a top speed of 123.43 miles per hour. Bryden Cade, 61, said he decided to take on the challenge of breaking a Guinness World Record while watching the TV series Record Breakers. I've always had the idea to do a record attempt, he told the Sun newspaper. He thought, what can I do? I'm a builder and love classic cars. Let's put the two together. His motorized garden shack was clocked at the top speed of 123.43 miles per hour, taking the record from fellow Briton Kevin Nix, whose shed set the record in 2019. The official record attempt took place at Elvington Airfield in York, and his speed was measured with help from the Straightliners Motorsports. Cade said he is planning to continue tinkering with his shed to make it faster, and he's hoping eventually to even make it street legal. Voice is still, got all kinds of nonsense going on. I'm having trouble projecting as well, so. Trailer carrying 9 sled dogs overturns in Minnesota highway. That had to have been frightening. The owner of a dog sledding team said all 9 of his canines survived when their trailer overturned on a Minnesota highway and one of them ran off. Jack and Chris Christopher, owners of Monticello-based Silent Run Adventures, said they were driving on Interstate 494 in Minnetonka when their trailer overturned about 10 a.m. Saturday. The back end came loose on me, corrected. Pretty soon, the trailer was moving. He said the trailer essentially split in half. The next thing I knew, I looked in my side view mirror and I could see plywood, and it was the bottom of my trailer. Mostly, I was worried about the dogs. 8 of the dogs remained with the trailer, but one named Haas took off running down the highway. State troopers, Minnetonka police, and firefighters helped keep Haas safe till he was recaptured by Chris Christopher. That's a tongue twister, Chris. The Huskies were transported to a local veterinarian in separate cars, and one named Rebel took a ride in the back of a police cruiser. Christopher said the dogs do not appear to have been harmed, but will be monitored for the next week to make sure there are no internal injuries. The couple said they are now raising money to cover veterinary bills and pay for the replacement trailer. You know, when you're a reporter, you should expect strange things, but I'm sure this gal did not expect this to happen. New Zealand reporter struck by bird during an outdoor segment. A New Zealand news reporter filming a segment outside when she was struck in the face by a low-flying bird, and the moment was caught on camera. Jessica Tyson, 32, a reporter for current affairs show Ta'eo with Moana, was filming a segment outdoors in Auckland's Britomart Square when the bird struck her in the face in between takes. Point of view, just trying to do your job when nature has other plans, Tyson wrote in sharing the clip to social media. She joked that the seagull needs a new pair of glasses. Everything is fine, just got a little scar above my eye, she wrote in the comment. The show's host, Moana Manipoto, said in a TikTok video that Tyson has made a full recovery from her injury, but will strictly be filming indoor segments in the future. And I'm sure she's thrilled with that news. Reindeer escapes Christmas event in England. One of Santa's reindeer escaped from a Christmas event in England, sparking a search and rescue operation involving police, Coast Guard, and Royal Marines. The Southport Offshore Rescue Trust said in social media that the reindeer escaped Saturday from an event in Formby. Merseyside police tracked the reindeer's movements through the area, but lost track of the animal as night fell. The Rescue's Trust lifeboat team joined in the search along with HM Coast Guard Southport and HM Coast Guard Crosby teams. So, apparently, one of Santa's reindeers is on the loose. Hopefully, if you find it, you'll share and let them know so they can go find Santa's reindeer. There are some pictures. There aren't any photos. Sorry about that. Drop the clicker. There aren't any photos, so, video, but there's photos. And it does look like what we consider Santa Claus reindeer. And now we're ready for our devotional. And I do think I'm going to wear my glasses this morning. Some mornings are like that. And a lot of it's because it's low light. Hope that acts. After they had heard the king, they went on their way, and the star they had seen when it rose went ahead of them, until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were overjoyed. Matthew 2, 9 through 10. The Christian life can be an adventure. Oh boy, can it. Jesus calls you to the exciting task of proclaiming His love and glory to a dark world. A powerful way to do this is to act on the hope you have. A great example of active hope is the account of the Magi. See Matthew 2, 1 through 12. When they saw the star that declared Jesus' birth, they excitedly set out on their journey to find the long-awaited Savior. Although their journey was lengthy and arduous, they were refreshed by great joy when their hope was fulfilled. In the same way, you can joyfully act on the hope you have, because God always fulfills His promises. And if you don't know that, the Bible is just filled with His promises that He fulfills. When you share His word, you can be sure it will not return void. When you are persecuted for your faith, you can be sure of God's favor. When you trust Him for what you need, you can be sure He will provide. Acting in hope is not always easy, but it is always worth it. Just as the Magi did, you can expect that God will refresh you with joy on the journey. How will you act on the hope that you have? Reflect. Where is God calling me to act on my hope? Pray. God of all hope, Empower me to follow the example of the Magi, so that I may act on the great hope that I have in you. Bring to mind specific things I can do to both proclaim and live out your word. As I act, fill me with great joy in your goodness and love. Declare, God blesses my active hope. Act. Act in faith and hope on something God is showing you today. And that, my friends, is it for today. I hope that you guys will have a blessed day. And hopefully next week there'll be a few more creations. But, it is what it is sometimes. All right, everybody, have a great day. And I'll see you again later on this week. Bye for now.